And that way, Facebook picks it up,
and then I have to fix it.
and then he has to fix it because I haven't figured that out yet.
Fix it.
And then he has to fix it. Yeah, see, we're getting the feedback already too. But it'll go because it happens on YouTube and not on Facebook, so it's a plus. And then I'm going to move the phone closer to the computer so it can be getting the feedback already too. But it'll go because it happens on YouTube and not on Facebook, so it's a plus. And then I'm going to move the phone
How's your day
closer to
been
the
today,
computer
Sheila?
so it can be getting the feedback already
It's
too.
been really good, very productive. How's yours?
Yeah, not too bad. Kind of the
And I'm
same.
going to move the phone
How's your day
closer
been
to
today,
the
Sheila?
yard sale. Got a sunburn.
I had a yard sale with you and also got a sunburn.
We are going live, so we're going to go quiet on the phone for just a second, and then as soon as we introduce you, feel free to chat us up.
Also got a sunburn.
We are going live, so we're going to...
We are. Now we got to remember the 30-second delay. They can hear us right now.
Oh, wait, intro music.
Okay.
We're live 14 seconds. Get some... There we
Yep,
go.
forgot how to scroll over. Talent I don't possess sometimes.
Oh, it's talent. Talent's a fun word. Hey guys, welcome back to Vanishing Gates. As always, I am your intrepid host, and the unexplained, the paranormal, the crazy, the weird, true crime, and whatnot, Jay. And with me, as always, are...
You know what? I'm magnanimous again today. I'm magnanimous
You can't-
once more.
You're running out of descriptive terms for yourself there, Jack.
Exalted?
The vanilla gorilla.
You'll get one.
Like
I'm
that
exalted.
The exalted Jack. I don't think so, bro. And this is,
Baco.
yeah. So, hey guys, cigar of the show. You want to skip into that right now?
Go
So
for
we
it.
can get up the road on the show? Or vice versa?
What
Can you
is
guys
this
read what this
cigar?
is?
I threw mine
I
away
can't.
again. I always throw away
This-
my label.
It was really tough for me to actually make out what it actually said.
Floridalis Antilles. My father's cigars is what the bottom part is. I'm not sure that's the correct pronunciation. This is a very expensive cigar. It was actually kind of fancy. It actually had like nice little silk wrapping on the end, which I've never seen before.
I had
So
never seen that
Still
either.
not a Gurkha warlord.
kudos to that.
Just gonna say that right now.
Yeah, but nothing's a Gurkha warlord.
Gurkha warlord's a Gurkha warlord.
Okay, a Gurkha
Where were you
warlord's a
on that?
Gurkha warlord. Bro,
That you just said completely.
do you not?
Asinine statement. That was just.
You don't remember the 15-year? You're very ungrateful.
Oh,
So,
Aaron Tear.
And we got these wonderful stogies from our friends at Myrtlewood Liquor, John's Fine Cigars, and you can find them at johnsfinecigars.com, or you can visit them if you're in Northern California, Humboldt County, Eureka, California, at 1648 Myrtle Avenue. And they have a great, nice walk-in humidor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, I was just in there last night, and I was just in there chatting it up with the staff, and it is so nice just to be able to go in there and be able to have a normal conversation with these guys, and to have them, you know, feel like when you walk in that you're part of John's.
Oh, yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
That is the sappiest thing I have ever heard.
It's a wonderful place. It's a
meaningful.
wonderful place to go to.
Not
I
sappy,
absolutely
it's
love it over there.
meaningful. What's wrong with you?
I have to be the devil's advocate. They're terrible people.
Whoa,
Whoa! Whoa! That's a bit much.
There's a few I like.
Your stogies are getting cut off, bro.
No.
Anyhow, now, you know,
I'll
it's
make my doctor
summertime,
happy.
but for some of us, Halloween is 365 days long.
And then some of us can tell time and put away our stuff promptly.
Mm-hmm. As you can tell by my backdrop, I'm not one of those people because, I'm not. So, that said, if you guys want some really cool props for your haunted houses, or you just want to decorate nice, or you want some really good artwork, check out our buddy Jason Glenn at Cotton Studio on Facebook. The guy makes some really cool stuff. We've linked him to our page many times, and he is an artist.
Thank you for the share, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron, for the share. Guys, again, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, tell your friends. Awesome. We appreciate everything you guys do. We wouldn't be here without you guys. And that wasn't even English.
You almost got there.
This week we have a special guest, but next week I want to go to that first. We are going to be live from Paul's Live from New York here in Eureka, California. It's part of the Eureka Theater Building, and it's supposedly quite haunted. We're actually going to do the show there, talk to Paul, the namesake of the restaurant, some of his co-workers or employees that have had experiences there, and then we'll do our Vanishing Gates After Hours special.
Are you still trying to do the after hours thing? You know how I feel about trying to instigate stuff.
This is gonna be a lot of
mess
fun.
with things.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
We're gonna do an
be
investigation.
There. You are gonna be there.
We're going to do an investigation, try to get some EVP. Things supposedly happen there all the time, so who knows? We might actually get lucky, much like Dan Aykroyd in Ghostbusters.
Is that what happened?
Yes, I'm still sad about that.
My childhood is ruined.
How is it ruined? It's an amazing childhood. Now, there's a change up. We had scheduled for the 29th to have Emily from Mystic Rose Tarot on the show. We had to actually push that to August 5th, and she'll be here to do a live tarot reading for you guys in chat. So it'll be pretty awesome. That said, let's get to the awesomeness of the show. We have a guest on tonight.
We're going to talk about me?
You're not a guest, you're just special.
Oh.
Anyhow, we have author, artist, speaker, and empath, Sheila Renee Parker on the line with us. Hi, Sheila, how are you?
Hey guys, how are you? I'm doing well.
And this is her book up there, and that's her. You can see in that little thing there. So, yeah, guys in chat, if you have any questions, type it in and we'll read it off. But let's talk a little bit more about you first.
Let's do a sound check real quick, so that way we can make sure we can hear her.
Oh, that's a good idea. Hey guys in chat,
keep going.
Can you hear our guest? Let me just move the phone closer to the computer.
Maybe turn it upside down where the speaker on the opposite end is.
Oh, I guess I could do that. I don't know where the microphone is. So let's just do this. All right, guys in chat, let us know how well you can hear. So, tell us a bit about yourself, there, Sheila.
Okay. Well, for starters, my name, like you said, I'm Sheila Renee Parker. I am an author. I'm an artist and an empath. I'm also a mom, a wife, and just an everyday average person. Just existing in this beautiful world we call Earth. Not to sound mundane, but yeah, I do have a novel on Amazon, and it is called The Spirit Within. It is a paranormal, romance, and it's really an amazing book. You ought to check it out. It's got some awesome reviews. I am currently working on the sequel to it. It's been a process, but it's one that I've been excited about. I'm also, a paranormal researcher. I'm an empath. I can communicate with angels. There's a plethora of things that, I dabble with and everything as well. So, if you guys want to just jump head in first with, with questions or anything, if you have anything, I am an open book to you guys.
Cool. I think I'll start with...
I am not shy.
All right.
That's awesome.
I've got a question. Out of all of those things, what is the most difficult amongst them? Parent, empath, or book writer?
My guess would be wife. That's no slight on the husband. I know what it's like to be a guy, and we're not easy to deal with.
That we're not.
But yeah, so I want to start off with for those who don't know you or haven't heard of you too much, when did you first become interested in the paranormal? Was there like a resounding moment in your life, or was it like a hereditary kind of thing?
Well, that's the weird thing. I've always been interested in the paranormal. It's always been a part of me. Ever since I was, a very small child, I've always had experiences with the paranormal. It wasn't until just a few short years that I started coming forward with my experiences because of, being younger and everything. I was always afraid of what other people would say and everything. But I actually had my first experience with the paranormal way before I was even, a kid in school. I was roughly around 4 years old. And long story short, I was at a church. It was after, services were over, and I was drawn to the cemetery and was just a few feet away. And I was drawn to this one particular tombstone, headstone. And to make a long story short, when I got to the grave, I could literally see the bones and everything. I was really drawn to its perfume and everything. I know it sounds really, really morbid, but ever since then, I've been experiencing all sorts of things.
Yeah, I understand the cemetery thing. I've always been huge on cemeteries. Actually, always very peaceful, it seems like there.
Yes, absolutely. I feel very at peace with cemeteries. I'm never afraid of them.
Well, good on you for, coming forward with everything. It's really tough.
It is.
Everybody is so... People are quick to judge really rapidly, and things they don't believe in, they're quick to just say, nope, that's not real, you're a liar.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's one of the things we like to talk about on the show, is we like to, tell people that, even if you don't believe in something, that doesn't mean you have to knock other people for believing or, seeing. It's not okay to just knock people for no reason.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I always tell people. It's always better to be open-minded about things. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to believe everything that you hear, but don't knock somebody else because they believe differently or they feel differently than what you may do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had an encounter like that this week. Like I've always been very skeptical of the Bigfoot thing. Living in Northern California, it's everywhere here, and I've always been very skeptical. Hopefully skeptical. Hope it exists.
Right.
But I spoke to a guy who was a no nonsense person that actually convinced me. You know what? If he believes in it, I have to give a lot more credence because I know him personally. So
Mhm.
it was just an awesome life changing moment for me there this week. But coming out and like when we started the show, telling people about it at first, it's like, what are you guys talking about? Like, the paranormal.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even though I've been involved with my entire life, it's like it's really hard to breach that with a lot of people sometimes. But
Yeah.
once you do, it seems like everyone's had some kind of experience.
Well, once I started talking about the paranormal, I actually found, it to be a lot easier as I started talking about it. I started, having other people approach me with their stories and their experiences, and it was even easier for me to even open up more with my stories. So that's why I'm not afraid about it anymore or anything like that. That's why I always tell people no fear, and I'm not shy to say the least anymore about anything. It's actually helped me to become stronger with my experiences and to go forward with my stories.
That is so cool.
That's awesome.
Now, did you have a cigar at the show?
Did you? Yeah, I wish I could have shipped you a cigar to smoke with us. I'm guessing it's probably not your bag. So, is there anyone else in your family that before you that had gifts that were empathic or maybe sensitive to their surroundings, like psychic, maybe?
Actually, if they, if there's anybody in my family, prior to, previous generations and things, no one has ever told me. And I know that a lot of people say that, any kind of like, gift, like being an empath or, like a medium or anything like that is like a trait that's passed down from generation to generation. But the weird thing is, nobody in my family has ever said anything to me prior to, me coming out with my abilities. Does that mean that they're not? Absolutely not. That just means I came from a family that didn't really discuss a whole lot. So, I mean, I'm in the South. We didn't discuss a whole lot of that, type of thing, growing up and everything, because we just didn't. And
Yeah.
but I mean, to say the least, I don't know. There could have been. There's a possibility, because I mean, I don't discount that for anything. That they just may not have wanted to talk openly about it, but this day and age, I don't care anymore. I'm talking open about my gifts. So, I'm not going to be shy about it. I do believe that there were family members in previous generations that were, but, to come out and say so, I can't give you 100%.
Yeah, no, that's totally understandable. Like our family
Oh, yeah.
they claim to be very psychic.
Our grandmother has actually, as far as my mother has told me,
She had like 11 or 12 children. She's from the South too. I think Oklahoma.
yeah,
Grandpa's from Texas. She's from Oklahoma.
they're part of the old Hatfield family. I think they're out of.
That's dad's side.
Is it? No.
Yeah. I don't know. Mom's in chat. She can tell us if we're wrong. But that said, with all of her grandbaby or grandchildren, she would knit a blanket, knowing prior it was a boy or a girl, and mail it out. And they.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she was right every time.
Thank you for the likes and shares, and please do share the show. And remember to follow Sheila on Twitter and Facebook.
Or wherever, yeah, for sure. And
At
check out her
Sheila
blog too.
R. Parker.
And we'll get into more of that too. So,
Is it pronounced Sheila?
What?
I was just wondering if it's pronounced Sheila.
Yeah, Sheila.
What
Okay.
else would be
I
pronounced?
thought it was like Shayla, perhaps.
What?
No, it's Sheila.
This is Northern Ireland.
Maybe she's from Ireland. We just don't know. There's a story about my grandmother, and my mom told me about this. And on several instances where some of our family members or her children have passed away, she's had nightmares and dreams for weeks up until the point of when one of them passed. And in fact, there's a funny story about our older sister, and she happened to talk to our grandmother, and she hangs up the phone after having a very bad conversation with her and says something very explicit about her. And the next second, the phone rings, and she says, "What did you just say to me?"
That said,
Oh my
I
God.
don't have an older sister, so I don't know what your math is on that one. But all right. So let's talk more about being an empath. For you, what does that entail? Because I've met people that are they call themselves sensitive sometimes. Like there's like environmental empaths, there's personal empaths, touch empaths. So what is your gift? Do you feel like as an empath? Is it more an emotional thing? Is it more an understanding without that knowledge, like prior knowledge? Or is it more like, don't go into that building because there's a boogeyman in there, kind of thing? Not even making light
All
of
the
this at
above.
all. Okay, cool.
No, no, absolutely. But to put it lightly, like in a nutshell, all of the above, honestly, because it's weird though, because I can get all these sensations and all these emotions and feelings and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, I don't know, I can sense people's emotions. I can sense what kind of day that they're having, regardless of that big old bright smile that they may be wearing. And I mean, it's really interesting though, because it's actually helped me to prevent myself from certain situations as well. And it's a warning flag as well. I mean, it's an amazing gift. And when I was younger, I didn't welcome it because I didn't really understand it. But, like as I've gotten older and everything, I've learned certain techniques that have helped me to guard myself against negativity and things like that. So it's actually helped me to, well, going with the paranormal, it's actually helped me to open up and to be there for other people who have their certain abilities and certain paranormal stories and everything. I can sympathize with them and empathize with them. So it's an amazing gift that I'm really grateful to have.
Sorry, I just hurt my neck. Trying to pop my neck, hurt it.
Oh my god.
I did have a question about that. Do you think a lot of
Yeah,
people
sure.
would show more signs of empathy, the empath ability, if they had, didn't like repress it, like because they didn't believe it, they didn't want to believe it, and so essentially they kind of just shove it down because they don't want to be ridiculed or persecuted by other people? Do you think more people would show up with
Oh,
it?
absolutely, and that's with any kind of ability for, to be honest with you, in my opinion, because a lot of times people may not want these certain types of abilities. Because I've spoken to other empaths that hated this gift because of all of the mixed emotions and because they have not learned to differentiate their emotions with other people's emotions. And if you don't know how to block certain things and to, put that barrier up, it can be a whirlpool, whirlwind rather of, mixed things. And it can be like the turmoil. And it can become toxic if you let it.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, with that being said, I can see how some people would, just push it down and repress it and actually kind of, hold it back and not let it come, to surface.
Yeah.
I think that's similar to like people who are precognitive or postcognitive, people who see things like that may be dead or see things that may happen. They don't want to see these things because it terrifies them, and they never know what they
Exactly.
might
Well, and
draw
they
in.
don't. Right, and they don't understand it, and they're afraid of it, so they push it back. Absolutely.
Jack's on fire tonight.
It's like me. The reason I don't touch the Ouija board, the reason I don't touch anything is because I have issues where I can read people really well, and I worry that if I happen to be empathic or anything, that I could draw something in by accident, because I don't know how to control any of that stuff. I don't understand it. And if I happen to be, and these things, because I'm very skeptical. I don't know if you watch a lot of the show. I'm the skeptic. Generally, I don't believe in a lot of things, but I'm more than open to understanding or hearing about it and hearing arguments about it. And I'm always open to it. That's why I'm always worried about doing anything like hunting for things, going out looking for Bigfoot, going out looking for, even Wendigos, anything. Yeah, these things may seem like crazy to some people, but someone saw these things. And what if they do really exist and I happen to run into one on a bad day? And all of a sudden I got something following me home tomorrow.
I think Jack's coming out of the closet. That's awesome. It's about time you admit it, boy. That said, like I've noticed a lot of empaths tend to compartmentalize. It seems like to me a lot of people with abilities that aren't necessarily scientifically agreed with. Do you ever have that problem? I mean, you did apparently at some point, but now you've just come out and broken through it, or do you still sometimes find yourself like flipping a switch or putting yourself in a different room of your mind palace, if that makes sense?
Well, I mean, as far as like, wanting to, be open minded about things and stuff like that, I mean, I don't see it being a problem anymore as far as being an empath goes. I mean, the key to having any kind of ability is embracing it and, just, facing it full on, and accepting, you for who you are, inside and everything. And if you have an ability, I say, open up with it. Don't be afraid of it.
That actually leads me to another question. Do you find that after, like, before you really accepted it, that you had more of a sporadic situation, like more like a scattergun effect to how things were happening, you couldn't control it, and then once you kind of accepted it, started molding it a little better. Once the acceptance came through, it was a little easier to take care of. Like,
so were you able to hone it, kind of, is what you're asking?
Yeah, to keep things from coming into that you didn't want. And would you suggest to other people that might out there who watch the show or listen to embrace this and stop ignoring it because it's only going to get worse, perhaps?
Well, I don't know if I would say it would only get worse because if you ignore it, because I mean, if some people, there's going to be some people out there who truly don't want their gifts, that, you know, being an empath or being, you know, any kind of psychic medium or, you know, being able to see ghosts or spirits, anything like that. If you don't want the gift, then you can, you know, just, you know, for lack of better terms, you know, you can banish it, you know, you can just ban it from your psyche and your who you are. But I mean, if the way I look at it, if you are given a gift, then just embrace it, and you know, you can actually infuse it with all the positive energy and everything like that, and then you can actually make it a lot better, and it can, in reality, it can actually make your life a lot better too, a lot easier, because being an empath for me has helped me to open up so many on so many levels, and everything has just become more positive for me, and it's been a very enlightening you know, trip, if you will, you know, ever since I opened up about being an empath. And I've been so happy since I've opened up about my gift. And because before I opened up about my ability, like I said, I didn't know what it was. I was trying to repress it. I was trying to hold it back. And again, it was confusing with other people's emotions and feelings because I thought they were my own and everything, because I didn't understand what was going on. And it was causing a lot of confusion and a lot of, you know, just unnecessary emotions and stuff like that, and it was scary to me. But once I finally embraced it, it just cleared the way for everything, and everything's been a lot more positive, and I couldn't be happier.
Now, is it hard for your kids to lie to you as an empath?
The thing is, it's really weird. I've never had my oldest child. He's not a child anymore. He's 25, and my youngest son's 16. And I've always been able to give them a mother look, you know, cut my eyes at them in a certain way. I'm like, excuse me, and they're like, oh God, Mom, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And then they're like, oh, okay, now she's really meaning some serious business. I'm like, yeah. So yeah, no, yeah, they can't lie to me. I told them before, I said, look, I've been your age before. You're trying to lie to me. No, it doesn't cut it. And so they know better.
I don't know about California. That must be a Southern thing. That Southern mom look, like, yeah, I know what you're doing.
That transcends any nation or state. It's a mother thing. But also, I mean, it's got to be like, that's pretty cool, because there's got to be a little extra there, I think, as an empath. You got to kind of feel the BS meters like much better than some people's.
Definitely. And that's when I sit there and I just look at people. I'm like, okay, that's when I will quit talking, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, they're just gonna keep on saying it. And so, in other words, I avoid the conflict or anything. I'm like, okay, they're just gonna keep on. So I'm like, just go with it, and keep smiling at people. And everybody's like, Sheila, you smile so much. I'm like, you have no idea.
Let me tell you how much my face hurts from this all day long.
Well, I imagine that it must be really interesting with talking to people, having to kind of hold back, because you don't want them to feel uncomfortable, like they can't necessarily talk because they're worried about getting caught in something. And I mean, I imagine that's a bit of an issue for an empath, is that sometimes people don't necessarily want to be too forthcoming due to the fact that you can tell whether or not it's a lie.
Well, I mean, you still have free will, so you pick your battles, right? I mean, you're not forced to do anything. Do you ever have...
No, absolutely. But then here's the other spectrum. Like, you know, I have people come to me a lot saying, hey, you're an empath? Won't you read me? And I'm like, wait a minute, back up. I don't give you a reading right now. They want me to automatically give them their whole life story. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. They're like, what am I thinking right now? I'm like, no, back off. I can't do that. I want to do that. And then they get upset with me. They're like, really? You're not going to do that? I'm like, no, really, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, I'm not some kind of a circus performer, you know? And I'm like, no, man, quit. That's why I tell everybody, I'm just like everybody else.
It's like, too, like, people don't get, like, a difference between an empath and a mind reader. There is a difference. You might be able to tell how someone's feeling and their emotional draw that way, but maybe not their exact thoughts, even though it's on the same path.
Well, the thing is, I don't want to read their minds, you know? I mean, goodness. I mean, I do believe in privacy. I mean, come on, you know?
Right.
I worry for the first person that tries to read my mind.
I think that's a big issue.
Right? Mine too. I mean, it's a scary place. My mind is, and it's a scary place.
I think that's probably an issue for people who are psychic. Is like you can't think like imagine someone who couldn't control that per se, just reaching into random people's minds and the things they would see.
That's when you
Just the
remove
sheer
that's when
dark
you
side.
remove the word gift.
Most definitely.
Oh
So
yeah,
you
oh
replace
yeah. It
that
automatically
curse.
makes me think of the movie Minority Report.
Oh
I don't know if
jeez.
you guys saw that. It's like an old movie.
I have not.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
a good
actually,
one.
if you guys,
Yeah.
for these two youngins, you guys don't know, that's actually the sequel to Total Recall.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, it
It
is.
is.
Oh man.
It is. It,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like it, but it is.
It's crazy.
I know, off charts. But so
Well, I got a question for you, Sheila. For the people out there that that don't know too much about what you do and the books that you've written and everything, can you tell us a little bit about the Spirit Within, the book that you wrote?
well, we're gonna get to that in a minute. I want
Oh.
to touch more base
Oh,
on
well,
like
I guess I don't have a question for you. Sheila.
we'll get there, but I have a whole list. I have a whole list of those. Don't get me wrong. But I wanted to touch base again more on your personal experiences. Like you're a paranormal, like what was it you used? What was the term you used in on your blog? Enthusiast wasn't the right word. Addict? There's something you used there.
What's that?
When it comes to the paranormal, there's a term you use to describe yourself when it comes to the paranormal, and that's kind of what I touch base on. I think you said addict or enthusiast. I can't remember exactly
I
off the
think
top
it's
of my head.
enthusiast.
Oh, enthusiast. Oh, I tell people I'm obsessed with the paranormal.
That sort of obsessive. There you So
I'm not an.
yeah, so
Well, I think
enthusiast, addict, obsessive, whatever. It's the same adjective.
It's the same.
So what? So you've gone on investigations.
Well, I've never actually gone on a full-blown investigation using like equipment or anything like that. I've been to a lot of reported to be haunted locations. I've just never used any kind of meters or anything like that.
Well, you are the meter, right?
But
So
I've
that's kind of my take on it. So I didn't mean it that way. I'm not like investigate. Like I've done tons of going to places that are supposedly haunted and trying to check stuff out. So
I
That's-
Oh yeah, I love going to the haunted locations and everything. Not just because of the alleged paranormal activity and things like that, but just for the history of things too. Because I love older locations.
Absolutely.
There's just something mysterious about them.
Now,
definitely.
the question I have is, in looking into like haunted places, is there any you will avoid? Like any place you would definitely avoid, even if you had the chance to go.
Any kind of place that I would avoid? Honestly, no. There's not one single place that I can think of right now that I would avoid.
Has there been places where you've
I'm
gone
just not a
to that
scared
just your body couldn't like cross a threshold, or is it like more open? You haven't been to a place with that kind of energy, or what?
I don't know. That's the weird thing, though, because I hate to say that I'm not afraid of things because I do believe that there's like negative energy, like demonic forces and things like that. But I'm just not really afraid of anything like that, and it doesn't frighten me. Now, I mean, if you were to put me in like a circus, like a haunted house or something like that, where it's supposed to be scary and creepy, that's different. That's a different type of thing. But a real haunted house I'm not afraid of. I can promise you that. I don't even like scary movies and things like that. I don't even find stuff like that scary. I laugh at stuff like that, and people think I'm really weird, but I'm okay with it.
Well,
So I mean, I welcome it.
Well, I feel that a lot of the times people are afraid to go to like dark houses to do a search and stuff like that. A lot of it, I think, is a fear of the humanity side of it. Like they're more afraid of what could be there that's a person versus what could be there that might be a spirit. So people have a tendency to avoid out of fear of what's in the dark versus what
Exactly.
might be spiritual. So they don't want to go in because they're afraid that they could get attacked. Their physical safety, so their body kind of goes into the I think it's the id. It's like the survival section. Their mind goes into survival mode and says, "Don't go in there," because you don't know what could be lurking.
Well, that would make sense if it wasn't for guys like me who our fight or flight reflex is just to fight all the time.
Mine is too, but I still avoid.
I mean, no, like there's been places that I've wanted to explore because I was into urbex when I was younger, and I wanted to walk into a place and I just couldn't go through the threshold. Something held me back spiritually.
That leads me to
That's the
another.
only explanation, because there's nothing naturally in this world that would have held me back from that barrier. There's an invisible barrier I couldn't pass through, so that doesn't make much sense.
That leads me to another question, which you may have already answered. Is there any point in time when you've been like feeling around, or you were just sitting there, and something actually came up that was something that actually worried you, something that stressed you a little bit, that perhaps you would have left, and what the experience was like, and perhaps where?
something like that might have frightened me really badly. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, something that might have actually worried you or made you feel like uneasy.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I mean, that's the weird thing, though, because when I was younger, my first experience with a shadow person absolutely terrified me. Now, that when I was younger, because I didn't understand it, I was alone in my house, and I was barely a teenager, and it was, at nighttime. There were all lights on in the house and everything, and I swear to God, right on the right-hand side of my peripheral vision, there was a shadow person standing there and staring at me, and it absolutely terrified me to the point where I stayed awake for the rest of the night. Even after my family came home later on, I stayed with my back glued to the fridge door up until the next morning when the sun came up. I was absolutely terrified. I couldn't even move. But throughout my life since that point, I've had, experiences with and encounters with shadow people. I've seen them throughout my years and lots of times. And now I'm to the point where I don't even care anymore. I walk right by them. I'm like, oh, excuse me, just like it's an actual human being or something like that. And I just walk right past it. But that first encounter terrified me to the point where I couldn't even move.
That's where I am the same way. Like the first time I saw one, it was it. But then after that, it's nothing. We've talked about it on the show before. Actually, we did a whole shadow people episode. It's just like, it's another kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Never had a problem with them. They're kind of eerie and unsettling, but never a real problem. Right. So you said you what? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I was just going to say it was only because I didn't understand it when I was younger, but now I'm like, oh, hey, what's up?
Yeah, I mean, I still don't understand it, but I'm just not worried about it. If it can't physically punch me in the face, I'm not that worried about it. Like people ask me, what are you scared of? Sharks. That's why I stay out of the ocean. Problem solved.
Well,
sharks and carnival rides. I found that out last year.
For people like me, the fear isn't necessarily that it can hurt you. It's that you don't know what it could possibly do.
Right.
It's a natural inclination to not go into the unexplained. A lot of people have the natural inclination to not explore that cave, to not go into that house, because they don't. It's not because necessarily they're afraid of like the spirit. Like I said, they're just afraid of that unknown. Maybe if they are afraid of spirits, they're afraid. They don't know what that spirit could do. Given the fact that mainstream media and stuff like that has created an image around ghosts and spirits, that they throw things, that they hurt people, that they do constantly horrible things, when I've never actually met anyone who's been through that per se, and I'm sure it probably happens, but I think it's the exception, not the rule.
I think Hollywood has done a huge disservice to the supernatural and the unexplained. I'm just going to say that right now. Like, it's cool because it gets people involved, but at the same time, I think it gives people, like, false, like, built-in kind of triggers in their mind. Yeah, so the next question I want to ask, you said about talking to angels. This is really, I actually have some Ask Your Angels books back here that I'm going to read when I get through
a lot of books we're gonna
giant
read.
piles of books that I read frequently, because I still read. I still like books. So tell us more about that. How does that work?
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. For me, the best way for me to explain it would be like a high frequency. It's I was at a public speaking event a couple of years ago, and I actually came forward with it for the first time in a public speaking event because again, it's a learning process for me as well. And each day that goes on, and one of the attenders of the event, sitting right up front and center, he goes, can I interrupt you for a second? I'm like, yeah, sure. And he goes, I wouldn't tell people I could hear those if I were you. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, do you know how crazy that makes you sound? And I looked at him, I said, I don't care. I said, it's okay. I said, you're still sitting here listening to me, aren't you? And I mean, what is the truth though? I mean, because, everybody's different. Do I hear voices? No, it's not like a voice like, you and I are talking right now. To me, it's a high frequency, and sometimes it gets really high pitched, and then it's to the point where I have to tell them to tone it down, and then it does, and it's really weird though, because when I do hear these, hear them, like speaking to me, if you will, what it is, it's like I get this sudden burst of positive energy and everything too. It's really kind of hard to explain because a lot of people are like, well, what do you think? It could be something negative to you. And I'm like, no, it's nothing negative. I guarantee you, I can trust my gut instinct and everything. It's not like that. They're always giving me positive information, positive, words and things like that. That, anytime like something happens and I feel like I need to tell somebody, that's when the messages come through. And it's trippy, to speak about it. But, like I said, I've gotten to a point in my life, I'm not shy about anything. And, I'll tell anybody whatever they want to hear, because I'm open about my life. I'm forward and I have nothing to society anymore. So that's why I'm going forward with my, experiences and everything.
That's awesome.
Actually, I wanted to draw
Absolutely.
back just a little bit. I wanted to draw back to the empathy thing, and I actually, want to hit on something Aaron said. I've always believed that empathy and, even to an extent telekinesis and things like that. Like I said, I'm a skeptic. I don't know if they exist, but if they exist, I believe that they are purely actually a human nature. They're not like a special evolutionary trait or a special thing that people get. I think it's like a leftover evolutionary trait when we couldn't communicate verbally, perhaps, and it was just a way to, we didn't have language. We were cavemen. We needed to communicate somehow, and perhaps that was the way we had evolved, was through empathy and stuff like that, to understand how to, understand danger and understand, how to communicate to one another. And that eventually, as we grew as a, a species, we essentially just started to lose it, and it's become more like a fringe thing where it's slowly going away because we can communicate in so many different ways that it's just becoming less and less necessary.
I think it's actually becoming more mainstream because I'm a very spiritual-minded person. So for me, I totally believe in spiritual.
Well, the thing is my opinion on that is that it's a want, it's a desire to see this thing, and so it's growing in awareness. People are starting to see it, and so they want it more. They want to hear about it. They want to see people who do it, and a lot of people who even hear it, often they're afraid, and so they reject it. But I think it's just a natural human trait. I don't think it's extra anything. It's just a human trait that was left over from when we.
Some people are more attuned to it. Is that biologically?
Some people are just more attuned.
I agree. And well, like in the big science, the big scheme of things and everything, they say that we only use 10% of our brain. So what's the 90 other percent for? I mean, through evolution, I think we've lost it because just certain beliefs and everything else that confine us as society and everything, and kind of, not to use the word narrow mind, but I mean there are lots of people that have gotten really closed-minded about certain situations because of fear and misunderstanding and things like that. So, I mean, we lose certain senses as, time goes on.
Go for it. Jack has to take a moment. He'll be back in a second.
Be right back.
He's having a spiritual moment.
I will be back, I promise.
When he gets back, Sheila on Jack's head is going to happen.
That is not happening.
Anyway. So, yeah, I mean, I don't, as a spiritual person, I'm not sure that I'm sold on the evolutionary aspect of it per se. I think it's definitely part of it, but I think we're both spiritual and physical beings, if that makes sense. So I think
absolutely.
I think people try to play it down. Like, I love science. It proves a lot of things that people said, well, for most science is looked at as cockamamie ridiculousness in the spiritual days, and it seems like we're fluctuating back towards the spiritual of things. We did a big scientific thing. Now we're trying to get back to who we really are, which is also scientific. So I think there's a big uptick and upsurge in people like us who, have these feelings, or I don't want to say like pre-knowledge, because it's not the term I'm looking for, but already tied into things. But the spiritualist movement happened in times of turmoil. We're back in times of turmoil again.
That makes sense. Right.
So, I think as people, part of it's the physical and a big part of it's spiritual. I think it's a pretty good balance between the two. And if you shut it off, you're cutting out half the fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
So,
okay. Absolutely. And because people are afraid and everything, and I think because, like you're saying, that, we're going towards more of the spiritual thing, I think we're reaching, for, a huge amount of, our population and everything, we're reaching a certain amount of awakening for ourselves. We're becoming more in tune with our surroundings and everything. We're becoming more aware.
I totally agree with you. I think that there's a good correlation between the number of people on the earth at one time and big spiritual awakenings. I think it's happening again. I think we're on the precipice of this.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, what do I mean, I throw beer for a living, so I don't know everything, but, I've been involved in a lot of things in my life. But that said, anyhow, so let's talk about the book. Like I said, we're not super professional. We're just trying. So.
Hey, no, it's all fun.
You're awesome. As soon as I saw you on Twitter, I'm like, I'm going to invite her on. I'm going to take a chance here. And then after that,
well, I'm honored. I appreciate that.
I'm honored.
The honor is
We're
ours.
honored.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were stoked you were here. Like, yes,
absolutely.
Someone who gets it. It's awesome. So let's talk about your book, The Spirit Within. Let's talk about that. what inspired you to write the book? If you can, aside from just the,
What inspired?
is there a situation that inspired it? I know there's a specific storyline, but was it based off of your encounters in general, and you wanted to awaken people to the idea of things, or was there someone you knew or something that happened that caused you to write this specific story without giving away too much of the book? Because I want people to buy it and read it.
Oh no. Well, I mean, it is the first of a two-part story because, like I said, I am working on the sequel and everything. But The Spirit Within is about a young lady named Cassandra Blakemore, and she is in a relationship with the love of her life. And long story short, he ends up being an abusive alcoholic. And through her own self-discovery, she discovers that she has certain abilities like telekinesis, like and ESP and things like that, psychometry and things like that. And she develops this certain like will to become stronger in everything. It's almost like a sense of empowerment. And I'm not going to give out too much about it or anything like
don't
that,
spoil
but
it.
I was inspired
Don't do that.
by, I wanted it to be like a realistic story because unfortunately it is prevalent in society that, a lot of, even guys go through domestic situations as well. But I wanted to incorporate the supernatural. I wanted it to be a realistic story that people can relate with. They may not relate to on their own personal level, but they know of the certain stories and stuff like that, maybe through friends or other ones, who have situations that are similar because, bad relationships and things like that. But like I said, I wanted to incorporate the paranormal, the supernatural with the abilities and stuff like that as well to just give it a little bit more of a supernatural paranormal flair to it. And the sequel that I'm writing is even more in depth to it. It goes even more in depth to Cassie's story, Cassie's background, who her the previous characters were from the first book going into the second story. She's going to even become more aware of more abilities in the second story, and where things are just going to just emerge even more so, more powerful. And so, I mean, like I said, you can check it out on Amazon. It's got a lot of really great reviews and everything on it. So I mean, it comes in Kindle or paperback, so it is available on Amazon for either one of those, like I said, Kindle or paperback. So I encourage people to go and get their own copies and let me know what you think about it. I mean, I would love some positive feedback or honest feedback. Actually, I would love honest feedback. And so that's always welcomed. And, you can always, look me up on my site at SheilaRParker.wordpress.com and, let me know what you think.
And when she says honest, she means, constructive criticism. Don't be a jerk just because you can be a jerk. I have noticed you have a ton of 5-star reviews. That's really hard to accomplish.
Absolutely.
If
If
I were to write a book and I had 25 people buy and read the book, I'd get maybe 1 star.
Thank you for the shares and the likes, everyone.
Don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short.
I'm a pragmatist. I can't help it. I'm Irish.
Yeah, we've got great ideas.
You're Irish? I'm Irish too. I've got some Irish ancestry. So.
Nice. My dad's mom was apparently born on the boat coming from Donegal to Ellis Island. So, I'm also a little bit Norwegian and some other stuff. I'm an American. Can't help it. It's what it is. Oh, by the way, that said, not to interrupt, Sheila, happy Canada Day to my Canadian friends and followers, guys. Hey, happy Canada Day. Happy birthday, Canada. Good to you guys.
Happy
Good on you guys. We appreciate that. Our good neighbors to the north who make the best maple syrup in the world. I know, because I buy Canadian maple syrup.
Let's keep the shares and likes going, by the way, everybody, and thanks for everyone who's doing it so far.
And make sure, guys, you push Sheila's books and her site and check out her WordPress. Is that where you're at there? Is that where your blog is?
SheilaRParker.wordpress.com. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Keep pushing that.
Now, I have a question. What was the experience of writing the book? Was it like, most people say it's a journey. Was it a good journey? Was it a bad journey?
Actually, that's a good question, because as an empath, did you feel like, I know it's not an actual person you're writing about, but was that something that you were able to channel that emotion into and those feelings? That's good call, Jack.
Yes, absolutely. And being a writer, I've always had it in my heart because I started off when I was a kid writing poetry, and throughout the years it just, flourished into even more and more, with my book and everything. But I put my heart into every aspect of the characters, and when I write my stories, I actually, and it sounds kind of crazy because it makes it sound like I have a split personality or multiple personality, but as I'm writing, I actually put myself in that mode of thinking, the thought. And so I get carried away with my emotions with my book and everything, which is a good thing, though, being an empath, because it helps me to channel the emotions that are needed to write that character. So it's not like I'm just writing off the top of my head, because I'm not. I'm writing with all of my heart.
Right.
That's awesome. That's
That's
why
really
I will
cool.
never finish my book.
I find it, when I read a book, I think a lot of people find themselves in that situation where they read books or they watch a movie and they find themselves, if you can find a great actors, like I liked Alan Rickman, and as Hans Gruber, I think it's Alan Rickman, right?
Yes,
Yes.
that was Hans Gruber.
I loved his character and I hated his character, and that's when you know you have a great actor, is when you hate them. When you hate that character so much, that's when I think something's great. Is if you can feel the emotion, hatred for something or love for something, you're really in it. You can sense yourself in that story, and it allows you to I guess partake in the journey of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes
Oh,
sense.
absolutely.
That makes sense.
Now I do have a
Absolutely.
really,
When I
really.
was writing The Spirit Within, there was a chapter, actually, chapter 4, as I was writing it, I was crying my eyes out writing it, because it was just emotional for me. It was very emotional, because I was just writing and I was like, wow, this is getting really intense. But, like I said, you've got to be able to put yourself in that mindset.
Yeah, if you
Absolutely.
can't, I find
And
that
just enjoy it.
I find that it's tough when,
Yeah.
we have great ideas for books. I've tried to write a book, and every time I do, I find myself, I like adventure stories, fantasy stories, but because I can't put myself in the shoes, I have a tendency to lose interest and just walk away, because I can't
Right.
feel the feel the emotions with the character. I can't feel myself going through that journey. It's just like I can imagine it, but I can't put it into, my own thoughts. I can just start a page, and then I put all of my emotions into that one page, and then they're gone. It's like I've dealt with it. It's almost like a form of therapy versus actually writing a book.
Yeah. Therapy's good.
Yeah, I mean, there are some moments that are good and bad. So yeah, but if you want to write your book, I encourage you to continue writing it. Because I want to buy a copy now. You make me want to buy it. So I'm looking forward to
Well, you
it.
got one sold. Make sure you send me an autographed copy when it's finished.
It's on the first page.
Yeah, send me an
So
autographed copy of it. I want it.
it's been on the first page for like 3 years now. So
I got 5 chapters in and erased 25 of those 5 chapters.
I imagine that happened to you too, right? You were writing your book, and then you had these pages. You got through like 4 chapters. Did that happen to you during it? Like you got like several chapters. You're like, no, I don't like that, and then you went back, got rid of those, and started over again.
Well, I have done that before. Started writing something and I'm like, oh, that just sounds like crap, and so I'll just like delete it or something like that from the screen. And I'm like, okay, I gotta stop. I gotta get away for a minute. Gotta get me a cup of coffee or something. But then, and then sometimes if you have to stop and just kind of put it down for the day, then you have to do that. Or sometimes if you have to put it down for about a month to kind of clear your mind, because the thing is, like with me, I'm writing so much, getting so involved with it. I've got so much thoughts going on in my brain on how I want the story to act. I have to actually stop myself before it gets too confusing. And I'm like, okay, you got to put it down, get some clear thoughts, and then continue later.
Yeah, you got to take part of yourself out of it so it's still fiction and not just.
Right. Exactly.
And it's funny because you answered one of the questions I had for you about your book, because I saw one of the things on a lot of your reviews were, are you writing a sequel? Please be writing a sequel. Well, now we know, guys. The sequel's on its way.
Definitely. And this one's going to be more intense with than the first book was and everything. And like I said, I've been kind of slow with writing it, and I'm really sorry, to my readers, they're fantastic about it and everything, but I'm going to get it out there, and I'm going to keep people posted with it, keep all the updates going and everything. So, I promise you're going to love this next story even more.
That is
awesome.
so cool, and I'm going to buy that one for sure. I'm going to buy them both, but I have a pile of books I have to read through, so I haven't.
But I'm pretty sure it was on a computer.
And
I was in a game, and I was reading the text there, and then I just deleted the text because I didn't want to read it anymore.
Yeah, so Sheila, out of the 3 of us, I'm the one that's big with paper and writing and whatnot, so... Yeah, these guys.
It's kind of a running joke that he still uses paper, and we just sit here on our tablets.
I do. I love paper. It's not the same to read off a tablet as read a book. I mean, not to say if you guys have Kindles, you should definitely get the Kindle edition of The Spirit Within, for sure. But you should probably get the paperback one, because that way money's being generated. Because she's writing. She's putting her heart into this, guy.
Now, I have a question. This is kind of a weird question, I suppose, but did you find, like, when you started coming out and talking about all this, that your local town or wherever you lived was a little, little bit sketchy on it? Like, they didn't want to hear about it, or they avoided it, and perhaps where you were, that might have actually, accepted you a lot better. Like, where do you think probably the best, most accepting place you've been at?
Yeah, good question. Did you I think what he's saying is, did you come out more around where your area is, or was social media a big part of it, or did they feed in together, or how did the genesis of your telling people about? I think that's what he's trying to get at, and what kind of response you got locally.
Yeah, versus local, like
Friends,
how the response
family,
was in your area versus somewhere else.
Yeah,
like where the other.
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's a really weird thing, though, because, I mean, I came out with, I think, baby steps. When I say baby steps, I mean minute, tiny little baby steps, on social media, kind of like dabbing your toe in the water to make sure everything's going to be okay first, the ripple. Actually, I got a lot of amazing feedback, because it was really weird, because I was so scared at first. But I'm like, okay, well, these people online, they don't really know me, so if I'm going to start coming out, I need to say something. And then all of a sudden, more and more people were coming to me with their experiences and with other things. They were being so welcoming and so open-minded and everything. So, that's when I started becoming more open with my stuff. And I'm like, you know what? This is really awesome. I'm really starting to feel really great about this. And then I started doing public speaking events and stuff, with my local area and surrounding areas. And it was really interesting, because I didn't know how, certain people were going to respond. And it would be really trippy. It was really interesting, though, because at my public speaking events, I have these like pamphlets, these brochures that are folded with my information and my contact information and things like that, and about my little bio and things like that. And on the back side of it, I keep it open to where if they want to write notes or have anything to question me about, that they can do that too. And as I'm doing these public speaking events, these people are writing down notes, and they're like, wait a minute, can you repeat that for me one more time? And I'm like, what? And then they're coming forward with their stories, and it was so interesting. And I mean, their eyes would be just glued, and then the whole entire room would erupt with conversation and interaction and stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is really awesome. I couldn't be happier, because I mean, like I said before, I was always scared, but this has become such a I don't want to make it sound heartfelt, because to some people it may not be, but to me this has been a very huge positive awakening for me, and I couldn't be happier, because I mean, everybody's given such feedback, such amazing feedback, and and it's helped other people to come forward with their abilities and their stories and things like that, and I love it. I'm so grateful and so happy and feel so blessed with what I'm doing right now.
That's awesome.
That is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So then you would say that it's been more positive than negative. So that's good. Like, I mean, I'm sure you've had your negative, your detractors,
yeah,
but it's really good that you can
negative moments, but I just push them out. Yeah.
Well, the positive ones are worth more than 50 negative ones. One positive moment.
Oh, absolutely.
You're going to touch one live. What's that versus all like the 4 or 5 negative people? I'd take one positive over that any day of the week.
Absolutely.
And that's what gets you going.
Absolutely. And not everything's going to be 100% positive all the time, and that's okay, because there is the balance of positive and negativity with things and stuff like that. And the only reason why I think there's so much some people out there with negative energy is only because they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, with all the positive things that's going on out there and everything, and like we were talking a little while ago with people becoming more in tune with their surroundings, becoming more aware and awakened. I mean, it's really mind-blowing, and I'm loving it. And I'm loving the fact that I can help other people, too, even if it's just somebody to ask questions for, I'm glad to be there for that person.
That's so awesome. Like, that mindset. Like, I've talked to you for a couple of days now on and off before we got on the show. And one thing that struck me is you are a really positive, kind person. And that's
Thank you.
one of the coolest things.
The world needs more positivity.
You have no idea how nervous I was having you on this show.
Why? Why?
Just because that's me. I'm really good at person to person, in person kind of,
I am so laid back. I am so down to earth. Don't be nervous. Oh my gosh.
No, I was stoked first when you showed up. You were cool to be here. Like, that's awesome. And definitely have to have you on the show again soon.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we'll talk about more like the unexplained stuff with people. Maybe we'll do a whole
Absolutely.
empathy episode. And
Okay.
maybe I'll actually tell people what I think about it, which you and I kind of talk back and forth about, barely, but nobody around me knows about it. So
Before you do
Sheila
go,
has a
though,
secret
Sheila,
that you guys don't.
I probably have like the hardest question of the night for you.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Oh, man. This is where Paco gets
I
fired.
am ready.
All right. What are your plans for the 4th of July?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Oh my gosh, I can't answer that. That is too hard. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, I have a day job. I have to work that day, but later on that night, my family and I were gonna go to a local little get together and watch some fireworks and just hang out and watch the show, and then after that go home and go to bed because I gotta go to work the next day again.
Oh, jeez.
Kinda
I know
sounds like
that
the same
feeling.
thing we're gonna do.
I mean, I'm not sure what it is, but I get paid to stay at home on Tuesday.
I am so mundane.
It could be worse. You could be from our town where they hate fireworks with a dying passion.
Well, they love them, just you're not allowed to use them.
No, where I live right now, people are blowing the fireworks up right now. I can hear
Oh,
them
yeah.
outside.
Don't rub it in.
I wish we lived in that area.
Sad face. So, all right. So let's remind everybody where they can find you at on social media and where they can get your book at.
Okay. Well, again, The Spirit Within, my supernatural romance novel, is available on Amazon, and available in Kindle format and for paperback. My site is a paranormal site. I also do, talk about my own personal experiences, but, I welcome other people to come and share their experiences as well. They can do that at SheilaRParker.wordpress.com. You can find me on Twitter at Sheila R. Parker and look me up on Facebook as Sheila Renee Parker. And I'm also on LinkedIn under Sheila Renee Parker. I don't have Instagram yet. I haven't gotten that yet. I'm not that interesting yet as far as getting Instagram, but I will one day. I promise you guys.
We might one day too.
I started one. I haven't figured out how to use it yet because I'm that behind the times.
Let's see. Let's ask the chat if they have any questions because I believe we glossed over that.
Does chat have any questions for Sheila
Serious
Parker?
questions, please.
Don't be silly. Come on, guys. I'm not even sure. I think our delay might be too far behind.
Oh, that's
They're just now talking about real books and fireworks.
Right.
But that said, guys in chat, go buy the book, and the sequel is going to be out eventually, right? Right.
I promise you. I'm keeping you guys updated and posted, and I am very active with my social media. So, guys, please, look me up and let's connect, and I will keep you updated. I promise you.
Nope. If someone has a question for you, she says yes. 1 second. So in chat.
Okay.
She says, Aaron says, I saw on your website that you do interviews with people. What was your favorite interview?
Oh, I can't just go out with saying one was my favorite interview because, to be honest with you, every single individual I've interviewed, I love. I mean, they're some of the most interesting people. I've interviewed, paranormal investigators. I've interviewed psychics. I've interviewed actors, film producers, film directors. I mean, the list goes on, and every single individual has been pretty phenomenal. So to say one would be a favorite would be unfair to the rest because they're all awesome.
Has there been one you really didn't like without saying names?
Honestly, no, because, I mean, that's the really weird thing because, I don't know, I just connect with people so easily. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's because I am so laid back or whatever, but I mean, I've had fun with all of them. I really honestly have, and everybody's been so genuine with me, and it's pretty cool. So I just enjoy it, I mean, I take what I do extremely seriously, but I also have fun with it.
That's so awesome. Oh, another question. From Aaron again. What makes you choose someone for an interview? She asks.
What's that now?
Aaron in chat asks again a different question. What makes you choose someone for an interview?
What makes me choose someone for an interview? Oh, that's just really interesting question. I just go with my gut, and if I see somebody that I think is going to be interesting, I mean, just like with anybody who asks anybody for an interview, I'm just like I send them a request, and does that mean everyone accepts my request? No, unfortunately they don't, because if they did, then I would be completely inundated with interviews, which would be cool. I'm not complaining, but I love it. I just wouldn't get any sleep, but I just I take the opportunity where I go, and a lot of times I will send out request, nonstop. We're, just to whoever and wherever, the invites go.
That's so cool.
I'm not biased. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you for supporting our small podcast.
Absolutely.
It's not a podcast anymore, guys. We're a full-on talk show with video and
We're a podcast.
Hooba Majews, a podcast.
Podcast.
Jack didn't even joke about the Mandela effect.
He really didn't.
Yes,
really
I did.
Didn't.
You're just suffering from the Mandela effect. Thinking
Ooh,
I did it.
There he goes. Sheila, it's been super awesome having you on. We're going to close out the show. Thank you for calling in, and we want you on the show again soon.
Yes, I would love that. I've had such a great time with you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for the night.
Yeah, not even a problem. So keep us up to date on that book, and we'll get you on pretty soon here, and we'll, if there's anything you ever want to talk about that's come up in the media or something you've heard about or you have a feeling about, feel free to contact us, and we will have you on the show. We'll make a space for you, no problem.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, guys. You guys are awesome.
Have a wonderful 4th of July, Sheila.
Yeah, have a happy 4th of July. Guys, Sheila Renee Parker. Talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I think that went fairly well.
That was really cool, guys.
Awesome, you guys.
How cool was she to be on the show at all?
Well, I mean, it's
nice
interesting that I show up to the show, so if she does, right? I mean, come on.
A little full of himself over there, huh?
Arrogant little bastard.
You know what I mean?
I am not
Hey,
arrogant.
get off that pedestal of yours.
Oh, no.
Boom!
Oh!
Shoe on
the head!
Oh,
Sorry, I had the
goodness.
bag on the head earlier. Thanks a lot, James.
Boom!
Oh, man, we gotta get one for you now.
I wear my
Guys,
crown.
again, make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to Sheila Renee Parker, or Sheila R. Parker on Twitter. Was that what it was?
Yep.
At
Sheila R.
Parker.
Okay.
Yep.
All one.
And make sure you check out her stuff. Buy her book in the paperback form so she actually makes some money off it, because we want to help. Because she was really cool, and she wrote a really cool book. Lots of good reviews.
Absolutely.
I'm going to buy it tonight. I'm not going to lie. But I'm going to
There's
call
a
her.
box on the screen. I'm trying to put my head in it.
I'm going to message her tomorrow to see if she'll actually, if I buy one and I send it to her, she'll sign it and send it to me.
Thank you, Aaron, for that, and thanks for all the shares and the likes.
Absolutely, guys.
Let's
keep
it going.
Keep
Even
it up,
the show's
guys.
over.
Hey,
Let's
guys,
keep
the
sharing
show's
and
not
liking.
over yet.
Oh, but
I own the show. I dictate when the show ends.
Fine.
Or the internet does.
Dictate away.
Guys,
Yeah.
awesome. It was an awesome episode. Awesome guest. Was it
Yes.
not the coolest?
That was
And
amazing.
thank you guys for being really respectful. That's really great. It's really cool that you guys were so respectful.
No one was jerks tonight. Guys in chat, good for you. High five
you,
to
Cameron.
chat.
No,
We're
just kidding.
speaking to you,
friends.
James.
Just kidding.
Both the Daves.
The Ames?
Both the
Daves.
Daves. It's a Dave
Daves.
thing.
I don't think
thing.
one of the Daves is. We have more than one Dave that watches the show.
We do.
Well,
We have more than two Daves that watch the show. Let's be
We got
I'm
a lot of
talking to the
Daves.
two Daves.
The reality of it is there's many Daves in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they all want shoe on head.
And as always, Aaron is awesome. As always.
As always.
It seems to be the thing.
Boom. Now, okay, I'm going to stop. Give me a second.
Let's see if I can
See if I can cut it out here. Oh, there we go.
Uh,
All right, guys. Fun times, fun times. Hey, guys. First of all, it's Canada Day, so happy Canada Day,
Canada Day.
Canadians. We love you guys. Our neighbors in North America's hat. You are the coolest syrup makers in the world, and you play some bomb-ass hockey.
and also, happy birthday to our country as well.
That's Tuesday.
Yes, well, we're not going to be here on Tuesday.
I'll be here.
We might be
Literally
here.
right here on Tuesday.
We actually might be.
We're
We're
day
not
long.
going to be doing
Whether
a
you
show.
show up or not is up to you.
Well, I might do a little, live stream thing on my phone.
Fine, do it.
We're not
Do
going to
it.
call it Vanishing America. That's a horrible
It's
idea.
rude.
What's wrong with you?
It's just rude.
Anyway, guys, don't forget to check out our friends, johnsfinecigars.com, where we get these wonderful stogies that cause us whatever damage it's going to do to us.
Oh, yeah, we're dying for you.
By that, I mean delicious, delicious death.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
No other way to go.
Also,
Love
one of the greatest staffs in the world. Don't forget our buddy Nick at Nick's Electronics. It's probably on the scrolling marquee down yonder. I added there earlier. Let's see if we can find it when it gets there. No, this way.
Faster. Come on.
I'm not going to speed it up because then nobody will be able to read it. This isn't CNN.
Make sure you guys check out our friend over there at Cotton Studios as well.
Jason Glenn at Cotton Studios on Facebook.
Absolutely.
Make sure when you guys visit their sites and stuff, send them messages, buy their crap, you tell them that Vanishing Gates sent you.
They will not discount.
Also, it wouldn't hurt if
It'd be
you
cool if they did.
bought Sheila's book and said, hey, all
Hey.
the comments, we heard about doing Vanishing
Yep.
Gates. It wouldn't hurt us at all.
If
No,
you decide to,
not at all.
definitely send
Do it, Aaron.
Send a notice that we did it, that we sent you,
We sent
that you heard it here.
No, in all honesty though, that was an awesome show. She was a great guest.
Oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
We look forward to having her on again. That was really
Absolutely.
cool. She's a sweetheart.
Absolutely.
A lot of fun.
In
Why
the
would
words
you
of
talk
Seth,
to us?
In the words of Paco, absolutely.
Absolutely. That's all I said.
Can you do it all at
Absolutely.
once with a head shake?
Absolutely. We can't do it.
Roxbury, come on. 1, 2, 3.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys.
Guys, as always, I'm your host, Jay, and with me is
What was that again?
the Vanilla Gorilla.
Exceptionally amazing,
I like Vanilla Gorilla.
awesome, super duper Jack.
Cigars lasted a long time on the show. It's really good.
I'm Paco, everybody. Happy 4th of
Paco.
July.
And this.
Bye, Felicia.
Definitely hard because of the weekend, Aaron.
Don't forget, guys, next week we live from Paul's Life from New York, California. The haunted greatest
Pie,
pizza
baby,
parlor in
pie.
California. If you want hot pie, that's where you go.
It is definitely
Hot
tough
and
because
weird.
this week we understand that a lot of our views will be down because of the fact that it's 4th of July coming up, fireworks, barbecues. So every share is like really helps to get it out there.
He's right, though. Guys, don't forget to share the show. Invite your friends to like the page. Check out Sheila's page. Like her page. Follow her on Twitter. Buy her book. That's a really big deal because she's a sweetheart. Let's have her as an author full-time instead of doing whatever job she does full-time. Aside from being a mom and a wife.
Yeah,
Good
can't get rid of
Lord,
that.
she's a superhero.
Can't get rid of that.
We had Wonder Woman on the show, guys.
Gosh.
Without the CGI from Marvel.
Well, I mean, maybe
pretty boss.
maybe she does have the CGI for Marvel. We just don't know.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Maybe she's Deadpool in her offense.
do we live in the Marvel universe where someone that awesome would actually join us on our show and talk to us?
Bizarro world.
All right. Well,
That's DC. We don't talk about DC.
Or Seinfeld.
No Goose Goblin.
no goose.
Guys, don't
Alright,
forget
you
to
guys.
like, follow, subscribe. Check out our YouTube page. I'm going to upload the rest of the shows. I know, taking forever. It happens. I have a job.
Yeah, he sucks.
I kind of suck at life. Also, don't forget to stay tuned for Vanishing Gates After Hours.
We have an after
You didn't
hours
do
now.
this? We did last week. We weren't there.
Okay.
Want to try this again? We can all do it at once?
No,
Vanishing Gates
I'm not gonna be there.
After Hours.
I'm not gonna be there.
You were so gonna be
I'm
there.
not a team
No.
player.
Like,
Now,
we're gonna tie you up and everything.
next week's Vanishing Gates. Wait for you.
After Hours.
We'll be doing a paranormal investigation from Paul's live, probably here and there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. A big, huge thanks to Sheila Renee Parker for joining the show and being kind enough to join us and grace us her awesome, awesome Southern presence.
It was great. That was a great interview.
And she had a lot of information too, like a lot of heartfelt, interesting stuff to
It's
say.
so hard to find people who are just open
Genuine.
about the things they experience.
Genuine.
And
That's the
genuinely
word.
they're genuine.
It's hard to find people that
it's
make
tough.
Jack go, hey, I kind of want to know about this because I don't believe in anything. And she did.
And yet I'm open-minded about everything. Nothing. So don't forget to like and share. And follow the page and like the page, please.
Check out Nick's
Page.
Electronics for all of your computer fixing needs.
Nick is excellent.
He is the bomb baby. He's our master web guy.
Yep. He sure is.
He's also good at fishing, which makes him something we won't say right now. Masturbator.
That's awkward. Let's do this.
Did I say that?
Yeah,
Yes,
I think
we
we're
did.
done with that now. I think
All right,
that's
so,
the note that we got
as always,
down
from
on.
Vanishing Gates, I am your intrepid host into the unexplained, the paranormal, the ridiculous, Jay, and with me as always is
The Exalted Jack.
and
Paco.
see you guys.
Goodbye, everybody.
That was creepy.
That was kind of creepy.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.